What do you get when you combine a luxury yacht, an off-grid house, and a waterfront villa? Well, add in just a dash of Tesla and 1 part deep sea oil rig, and you've got the ArkUp livable yacht. The ArkUp is a solar-powered, self-sufficient, electrically propelled floating mansion that can transform any harbor in the world into prime waterfront real estate. A masterpiece of sustainable engineering, this 4-bedroom floating home rests on a set of retractable hydraulic legs that anchor to the seabed and completely stabilize the vessel, even lifting it out of the water. If you get bored of the view, you have the freedom to lift off and use silent electric motors to cruise somewhere else for a change of scenery. I recently got the opportunity to go on board the ArkUp 75 and get a tour of its innovative features from co-founder and CEO Nicolas Derouin. We crawl into a bunch of compartments, look at all types of gauges, and discuss the green technology behind the sleek glass facade of this forward-looking vessel. Come aboard. At a length of 75 feet, with 4,350 square feet of living space, achieving energy independence on board the ArkUp is no easy task. The battery system provides power for all onboard systems, home appliances, and electric propulsion. Let's check in with Nicolas and learn more about it.
So the battery, it's one key element of the boat, right? The boat's completely solar powered, so it's really like the heart of the vessel and all the systems that are integrated. The type of battery we use are lithium-ion batteries. The choice of the vendor, the supplier for these batteries for us was really important, was key, because we really wanted the batteries to have a long lifespan, be very safe and reliable in their design and technology. So we partnered with a company from Canada called Corvus Energy. They usually provide these batteries for commercial vessels, so hybrid ferries or fishing boats. So it's really for industrial, commercial applications that these batteries have been designed. We have 182 kilowatt hour, that's the storage capacity. There's 2 racks of battery cells that are stored in the electrical room below deck. Each rack has about 16 cells, and each cell can be removed or replaced separately. So with a full charge of battery, let's say on a regular day, sunny day like today, I mean, we have a kind of daily cycle where we recharge the battery with the sun every day. But if there's completely no sun, so just rain and clouds for several consecutive days, the battery will provide energy to the floating house 2 to 3 days, depending on how many people live on board at that time and how they manage the energy consumption. But at least 2 days guaranteed.
If you saw the ArkUp docked in the marina, you might find it hard to believe that this is an actual seaworthy drivable vessel. But the ArkUp comes equipped with 2 100 kilowatt azimuth electric thrusters and a bow thruster that provide silent and vibration-free electric propulsion. The houseboat's large rectangular roof acts as an ideal platform to harvest solar energy, but the vessel's shape creates a trade-off for propulsion efficiency.
In terms of speed, so this boat is quite slow, very maneuverable, but quite slow, and it's not really related to the propulsion itself, more to its design. So it's a large hull with a flat bottom, and it's a heavy structure with a lot of wind edge. It's kind of a box on top of it, so that kind of determines the maximum speed. So we have cruising speeds of 2 to 3 knots and maximum speed of 5 to 6 knots. The range depends on the weather conditions, like I said. On a sunny day between noon and 2 p.m., you can actually sail without draining any of your power stored in the battery. So what you produce with the solar array will be enough to make the propellers work and propel the vessel. But generally speaking, we have a range of 10 to 15 nautical miles. That can vary a lot depending on the use of the vessel. So if we had full speed, Probably after 1 hour we'll run out of power, and therefore you have a 5 to 8 nautical mile range, let's say. And if we sail with the sun, we can have a 20 nautical mile range.
Set atop the ArkUp's 2,400 square foot roof, the solar panel system consists of 110 325 watt panels that generate 36 kilowatts of power. Considering the size of your average home solar installation is about 7 kilowatts, this is quite a large system. Mounted on a permeable rainwater collection membrane, these panels are firmly anchored to the roof and wired directly into the ship's inverter controller. While docked at the marina, the ship can also run off shore power and charge its batteries. In the small low-lying nation of the Netherlands, water has played a central role in the lives of its inhabitants since the earliest settlers learned how to pump out their land to make way for tulip fields. With much of the nation below sea level and gradually sinking, the Dutch know a thing or two about water-based building. Born of these Dutch roots in shipbuilding and architecture, the ArkUp was designed by Water Studio NL under the leadership of sustainable design veteran Koen Olthuis. Inspired by Dutch floating communities, the experimental concept envisions the future of aquatic living and addresses the issues of urban growth, rising seas, and dependence on fossil fuels. Being on board the ArkUp, you might forget you're on a boat, as it feels like a spacious, luxuriously outfitted modern home. Designed to be one with the natural surroundings, balconies, terraces, and floor-to-ceiling windows always remind you you're at sea, and a retractable terrace creates plenty of outdoor space. The vessel is 75 feet long and 32 feet wide and weighs in at 268 tons. With 2,700 square feet of total indoor space and 1,650 square feet of outdoor space, the ArkUp's voluminous cuboid shape creates the same livable space as a 110-foot yacht. Built on a steel hull and superstructure and outfitted with impact-resistant windows, the ArkUp is built to withstand Category 4 hurricanes, its durability being an important component to its intended purpose as a future-proof dwelling. Centered on an open floor-plan living room, the spacious two-level floating villa prioritizes space and comfort. The bottom level contains a full living room, a fully equipped open-concept kitchen, crew cabin, 2 bathrooms, and a small office area. When the vessel is docked, the sliding outdoor deck creates one of the coolest backyards in Miami. Upstairs, 3 bedrooms with full bathrooms and 2 spacious balconies create a comfortable living space aboard the vessel for up to 8 people. One of the days I was filming, the house was being rented by a large family, and as part of the ArkUp experience, the crew took them out of the marina for a cruise through Biscayne Bay to spend the night anchored in a new location. Notice how the ArkUp remains completely still in comparison to all the rocking boats floating around? That's because it's not floating at all. A key feature of the ArkUp is its sophisticated system for elevating the vessel completely above the water level and making it feel as stable as a house on land. The 4 40-foot-long hydraulic pilings, or spuds in marine terminology, level the floating home, creating a sturdy foundation in depths up to 20 feet. In addition to the added security in rough weather, this system eliminates the effect of the rolling of the sea, and for those affected by it, seasickness. The technology is actually borrowed from the offshore drilling industry. The controls for the spuds, as well as all controls related to navigation, are located on the boat's helm station. Let's take a look.
So on this part of the helm station, on the left side, we have the controls of the anchoring and self-lifting system. So this is the shape of the barge, of the hull, and the 4 spuds, the 4 anchors, and each joystick controls one of these spuds. The anchors can be controlled simultaneously, the 4 at one time, to lift or lower the vessel, or they can also be controlled independently. And that will enable us to fine-tune the leveling of the boat and make sure it's completely horizontal. All right, so this is the other side of the helm station, where we have all the controls related to navigation. So really like a boat, so those are the controls for the electric thrusters, the 2 pods that we have at the stern. They rotate 180 degrees, so this is the control to steer the boat. We also have a bow thruster to improve the maneuverability. And then we have anchoring lights, navigation lights, horn, VHF radio to communicate with other boats, the bridges, coast guards, and so on.
Let's head inside to take a look at the ship's dashboard.
So this screen is like the brain of the vessel. So that's what gives us all the information we need with regards to all the resources on board and all the power management. We have the exact same screen at the helm station. And here inside the boat, we can also have access to all the information. So on this screen specifically, those indicators are more related to navigation. That would be the speed and direction of the electric thrusters. We have information about the wind. This is information about the freshwater capacity, so how much autonomy we have with fresh drinking water. This is how much of the holding tank we're using. So that's going to tell us when we need to do a pump out and empty that tank. And that here is the charge of the battery. So right now the battery is fully charged. On this other screen, that would tell us how much solar power we would generate if the battery was not fully charged or the boat connected to shore power, and how much hotel loads or energy we're consuming on the vessel. So that basically gives us how much autonomy we have with regards to power, to energy. Then we have indicators for different alarm systems. So those red dots here are related to the propulsion system, which is currently shut down. But that gives us information about the battery system, the inverter, all the smoke detectors, the bilge sensors in the hull. That tells us basically if anything is wrong with the system or the sensors that we have on board, and ensures the safety of the vessel. And that gives us the pitch and roll of the vessel, so basically to make sure it's properly leveled.
The ship's modular hull accommodates separate technical compartments for hydraulic, electrical, and water-related equipment. Let's go below deck and take a look inside.
So that's the electrical room here and the battery room. So let's say the main technical compartment of the vessel, since we don't have any generator or diesel engine or anything on board. So there in the back you can see the lithium-ion battery. So those two racks that I was mentioning from Corvus Energy. In the middle, ideal power, that's the inverter. So that's what actually manages the energy that comes from the solar panels and transfers it to the battery to be stored, and then also redirects the energy from the battery to the propulsion. This here is just some controls and the battery management system, but basically that's the kind of interface between everything, interface between the solar panels, the inverter, and the battery system. On this side here we have lots of breakers, so to make sure everything's completely safe. There's also very interesting lightning protection system on the boat. In Miami there's plenty of storms and a lot of lightning, so when we're on the water, that's very important for the boat to be protected for that. So this is one of the technical compartments. That's the water room, as we call it. All those compartments are equipped with the ventilation system, sensors, bilge pumps, etc. So very safe. And on this one here, for instance, we have a pump system for the ballast. So we have 4 ballasts at each corner of the hull that we can empty or fill with water to make sure the boat is leveled when it's floating, when it's in the water, not when it's on the spuds. We have a water heater system here. On this system, there's also in its design, it's also optimized to minimize the energy consumption. So there's kind of a heat exchanger between the water heater and the electric room or battery room cooling system. And then on the other side, behind this wall, we have a 4,000 gallon tank for fresh water. So that's where all the rainwater that's collected on the roof with the drain comes. And then there's a filtration system here. So in total we have 8 levels of filtration, 8 different filters. So that's the main pump, and then You see different filters, carbon filter, and then the UV lights. So we produce our own drinking water on board. So this is a storage compartment. This is the shore power cable. I was mentioning we have the option of connecting to shore power just to run the boat or charge the battery whenever we want. So that's where we do that. Those are the freshwater tank outlets, so plugs to fill the freshwater tank with a hose if in case it's not raining enough for several consecutive weeks. And here that's where we do pump outs. So on this boat there's basically two possibilities. The way it's set up now, all the black and gray water is just stored into a 4,000 gallon holding tank, and then once or twice a month we do a pump out at the marina to empty that tank. Or we have space and it's already prepared to install a marine sanitation device, and that will process the black and gray water with a bacteria and biological system, so that the water is, after being treated, is clean enough to be discharged into the ocean.
I've had the opportunity to check out a few different solar yachts for this channel, and while all I want to talk about is the range, top speed, and all the fun stuff, I've noticed a common theme that the ship's engineers are always obsessed with climate control.
So when you ask me about the challenges of design, I mean the challenges of the project generally speaking, but in terms of technical design engineering, being able to minimize the energy consumption on board was really key to guarantee that the boat could operate off the grid in most cases and would provide the maximum range. The main things that consume energy on board are the propulsion, only when the boat's under navigation, the AC, and then the lights and appliances, which is like very low because it's all LED lighting and all very low consumption high-end appliances. So the AC is a big challenge because we want to be able to have the temperature that we want on board. Don't want to suffer with that, and at the same time that cannot drain the energy of the battery. So we had several things we did for that. In terms of AC configuration, we used a split system and have like 7 different zones that we can adjust separately or independently on board the vessel. The other thing was related to directly the design and insulation of the boat. So we have closed cell foam that we use to insulate the exterior walls and the ceilings and the floors. And we have minimum 6 inches of closed cell foam all over the place. So that's a great way to guarantee a good thermal insulation for the interior space. And the other are the windows. So we use impact windows, and they have like double pane, argon gas in between to help also getting a better thermal insulation, and what they call a low-E coating. So that's kind of a thin metal layer that helps reflecting the sun and also improving the insulation.
Everywhere the ArkUp goes, it's an instant attraction. As the hulking vessel sailed through Biscayne Bay, it was surrounded by a swarm of onlookers who just had to get up closer for a photo. In person, the ArkUp is visually striking, like a modern Miami mansion lifted from its foundation and plopped into the water. Currently on sale for $5.5 million, it also carries a Miami mansion price tag. ArkUp is currently producing more of these ships on custom order, and you can have your very own fully configurable ArkUp starting at a price of $2,267,000. The original ArkUp 75 featured in this video is actually available for rent in Miami on Airbnb, and I've included a link in the description if you're interested in booking a stay. Being on board the ArkUp is certainly a unique luxury experience, but the company's mission has deeper aspirations. With sea level rise here in Southeast Florida projected to be 6 to 10 inches by 2030 and 14 to 26 inches by 2060, ArkUp intends to develop water-based housing solutions to address the impending climate crisis. They ultimately hope to create more affordable models for the average family and even develop floating neighborhoods. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. We showcase cutting-edge sustainable technology. You may be interested in watching one of these videos next. Thanks for watching and have a great day.